That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour live on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sitsuti along with the Darkwing Brian Daly.
What's going on?
And the Broken One, Mr. Rob Povia.
If it's free, it's for me.
And we welcome everybody to another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour, and we are here to talk about the Stanley Cup Finals. Gentlemen, it has arrived, and while one team was definitely unexpected, the other team is trying to become only the most recent team to go back-to-back since the Penguins did it a few years back. Hopefully, if they do, that's one silver lining you could pull out of that the Penguins won't be the most recent team to go back-to-back. So there you go. There's that side of it. But anyway, despite me looking at the glass half full, we are here to bring all the hockey news as well, what to expect for Game 3, going into as well Games 1 and 2, and to dissect what we saw from both the Habs and the Lightning. But first, we are brought to you by Body Check Wellness. You can use that promo code that you see at the bottom of your screen for 20% off your order, as well as when Riley Cote, who created Body Check Wellness, is on with us, you can get 40% off of a THC-free product box. They have plenty of great products. They've got gummies, they've got topicals, they got ointments. All of them are there for focus and clarity. They do use hemp. If that kind of throws you off for a minute, you can always use THC-free products and then ease yourself into the hemp side of things, but they all help you out. They help you balance you. They help make you more clear, more focused, more driven to get that most important stuff that you need to get done. You know, you make that to-do list and you keep putting it off, right? Well, this kind of stuff will help you get on track and say, you know what? Today's the day I'm going to do it. I'm going to get this damn to-do list done because you know what? It's time. And that's what this can do for you. So, that's Body Check Wellness. We're also brought to you by All Campus OC. You can actually get a bit of a nice little opportunity here, giving 20% off of everything in the store, including hats, shirts, and also team cornhole sets, which is actually always very interesting. And that is to all subscribers on YouTube, so that's definitely a good reason to subscribe in there. Plus, All Campus OC as well. They've done a lot of great stuff for your favorite sports apparel. So for your team, go grab it. That's where you want to go to get that taken care of. John's always an awesome guy and definitely somebody you want to support out there. And
John's
as well,
man. John's man.
Absolutely. And finally, guys, memberships. That's right. We've got them, and we want you guys to join because we love you guys, and we love talking to you guys, and we can interact with you on the chat, but there's other ways to do it as well. You could always become an A2D member, $9.99 a month. You can actually join us on the air live, and you can actually talk to us in person, sort of. But you get an opportunity to speak to us. We get to hear you, and you get to hear us, and it's a great thing. We had Prism on here, who's always commenting and liking and everything on all A2D stuff, and we can have you guys on here as well. So that's one other thing. You get shout-outs, members-only shows, appearances, weekly picks in the Money Pot podcast, which can earn you a lot of really great money there on the side. So there's a ton of benefits to signing up for that.
I'm a member.
Yeah.
I'm a member, and I work for A2D, so goes to show you how great these perks really are. Sign up. It's only $9.99 a month. Get win some money.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gentlemen. So, with the Stanley Cup Finals officially underway, we will have the Twitter poll question for everybody there, and that is this. With the Montreal Canadiens having lost games 1 and 2, are the Canadiens in trouble? Agree or disagree? Gentlemen, what do you think?
I'll jump in on this one first. I disagree to the poll. I don't think they're in trouble. Their biggest game one, and I'll make it real simple. Game one, emotions got in the way. Emotions kept them from, they took some stupid penalties. You could tell nerves in the first period. Second period, they settled down a little bit. But that Andre Palat goal absolutely changed the whole dynamic of the game. And they started to play a little too physical, got a little too emotional, took some stupid penalties, and put Tampa Bay back on the power play. So I've been saying, you got to keep Tampa Bay out of the box. That's where they really, really do their damage. And you saw that in game one. Game two, I thought was a much better effort. Just got to beat Vasilevsky. They just got to finish. I think going back home for game three, getting in front of the hometown crowd, feeding off that buzz, I think it's going to do wonders. I don't think they're in trouble yet. I mean, if they lose tomorrow night, yeah, they got some trouble ahead of them.
Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, certainly when you talk about in game two, he's definitely been a problem for the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, you put up 40-plus shots and lose the game. I mean, that right there is making a statement. Vazzy trying to get the Conn Smythe, in the Stanley Cup Finals. But I'm somewhere in between. I don't know if I can agree or disagree on this because, I mean, anytime you go down 0-2 to a dominating Tampa Bay team, you're in trouble. I mean, but now they just got to win their home games. I mean, to Brian's point, that could be a feather in their cap because since losing those first two home games against Toronto in a series that they came back down 3-1, Canadians are 5-1, the Bell Center, since losing those games. And I mean, the odds are more against them, but I wouldn't say they're in trouble. And this is to Brian's point. They go down, 0-3. That's a tough hole that not many teams, that very few have come back from. So, I mean, it's like you go from either trouble or right on the burner, right on the hot seat. So, game three is just going to be quintessential, but that's, obvious point.
Yeah, I mean, the Canadiens all they need to do is win game three. They're back in the series.
Right.
And like I said, it was a much more dominant, I don't want to say dominant, but they played a complete 360 from where they were in game one. They spent a lot of time in the Tampa Bay zone. Tampa Bay just got a couple lucky bounces to go their way, and Blake Coleman was one of those guys that got the dividend of that. I guarantee you that if on that one goal that Blake scored while he was diving to end the second period, if that doesn't get tipped, Blake Coleman isn't touching that puck. It got tipped right up into his stick, and they got the fortunate bounce for it to go back in their net.
That definitely took the wind out of their sails because that was right before the period ended, too. That's never easy to, find yourself in a hole, a little bit of a deeper one. It's just
absolutely. It's when you're in a game that tight, Maddie, to your point is this. It takes the wind out of your sails, especially with seconds to go. And you're playing a great game. Yeah.
But with the poll question up, here's what the chat has to say. We got Jake chiming in. What's up, boys? The Lightning is winning the cup. I agree with the poll. The Canadiens are definitely in trouble. And we've got Clay Harbison chiming in. What's up, Clay? Saying, yeah, they are the fucking Lightning and are going to get another cup. So I would say he agrees to the poll question on the Canadiens being in trouble. We got Mr. Tom Arnone chiming in. What's up, Tommy? Saying I have to agree to the poll on that one. And we've got Prism, the Canadiens fan of the bunch here. And Brian has that Habs sweater up there for you. And
you bring some luck.
Yeah. And Prism saying, expect them to fight like dogs, can't go down 3-0. So, yeah, well, I definitely don't want to go down 3-0. I mean, very few major comebacks like that happen in the world. That's why we highlight them throughout history. Benny's Nation, what's up?
What's up,
yeah.
Benny?
Saying, disagree, had a much better game, too. They still have Price, who can steal a couple of games, which is true. You always have Price, and he definitely can change things around. Tom saying, there's my boys. And then he also goes on to say, do the Canadiens have any shot in the series? They do. I mean, they're not out of the series by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, it seems like a mismatch on paper, but the thing is that the Knights was a mismatch, and yet they beat them. Toronto had them beat, and then Toronto shot themselves in the foot because they don't know any better, and that's what they like to do.
Keep in mind, they were down 3-1 in that Toronto series, came back and won that series.
Yep, absolutely. So in the end, the Canadiens definitely have a shot in this series. I mean, when you've got a goaltender like Carey Price, he can turn things around single-handedly. We've seen him do it. So I definitely could see that. Plus, also, this is a team that they don't give up easy. This is the kind of team, if you're going to beat them, they're going down swinging. So the Canadiens absolutely have a shot in this series. Let's see here.
Doesn't look like Atlanta has much of a chance in this game here. Down 89-78, getting ready to end the third. They haven't had a lead or been close to tying this game since the start.
That's surprising with Giannis out of the lineup tonight, correct?
Well, yeah, and Trey's out too.
Yeah, I knew Trey was 50-50. I actually thought he was going to play, but that's probably what's keeping this close because Trey plays. I don't know. I like Atlanta in that.
I mean, Atlanta was down as much as 20, and they're down 11 right now.
Right.
So they're slowly getting back into it.
So Tom was also saying was hoping for an upset, but doesn't look good. And then he goes on to say Lightning are loaded. They are loaded, but hey, like I said before, the Knights were too, and it didn't matter. It did not matter.
The Knights have a more loaded roster, to be completely honest with you, but that doesn't always translate.
True. And we got
Montreal just needs to get one game in. If they can get one game and get the momentum, this series can go anywhere, especially now that they're home.
Yeah. Pete saying, what's up, fam? Close out the night for A2D. Yeah. What's up, Pete? How's it going, brother?
Yeah, we're just trying to lock it down after a fabulous Birds. If, out there you didn't catch it after the Hockey Happy Hour, go check them out, man. Talking, top wide receivers. That was a beautiful discussion to lead off the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he also goes on to say, agree to the poll. They are more than just in trouble. They're in sweep territory. I mean, I don't know if they're in sweep territory. You go down 3-0, yeah, you're definitely in sweep territory after that. But, I don't know. I wouldn't say yet. I mean, here's the thing. You lose your first two, you always want to try and split the road. And when you don't, it does put you behind the 8 ball because, now you got to win both games at home. That's non-negotiable. You have to win both games. And yes, we saw it against Toronto where Toronto did have them down 3-1 and they came back. But the thing is that does Montreal have another one of those comebacks in them? And also on top of that, Tampa, I think that while Toronto has a habit of fucking up, we know Tampa does not. Tampa usually closes out the series they're supposed to close out. However, that did get tested in the last round. They had the Islanders, but the Islanders said, no, you're not winning this last game in the Nassau Coliseum. We are. And they pushed to Game 7. So, is it possible? No. Is it impossible? No. It's very, very possible that you could see a comeback. But is it likely against Tampa? I would say no. I would say it's less likely against Tampa than it was against Toronto.
I mean, Tampa Bay had trouble with Florida in the beginning, too. So the only real team that they were comfortable closing out was Carolina.
True.
Florida did make it interesting bringing in Spencer Knight, but I think they brought Spencer Knight up a little too late for Florida to really get things going. But, I mean, you never know. Game 3 is going to be pivotal. That's all we really know right now. It's pivotal for Montreal to get Game 3. They have to be able to score on Vasilevsky. They have to get more than one. You need guys like Brandon Gallagher to wake the hell up, stop trying to provoke everybody, and start scoring some goals. You need Paul Byron to start scoring some goals. You need Philip Deneau to start scoring some goals. You're getting goals from the same 3 guys. You're not going to win. You can't win in this. You can't beat a team like Tampa by only scoring 1 goal. It's just not going to happen. Montreal needs to figure out how to get their offense going. because their defense is doing their part. Carey Price is doing their part, his part. This offense in Montreal needs to figure it out, wake up, and start scoring some goals. They have to beat Vasilevsky. They had too many good chances in Game 2 to not be able to score more than one goal.
You got to find a way to finish.
Yeah. You can rely on Corey Perry all you want. He's been historically a good goal scorer. But you need more. You need to get these guys going. Where's Josh Anderson been? Josh Anderson needs to wake the hell up. I like that they're showing signs of life and physicality and standing up for each other, but it's going to cost you eventually.
Yeah.
They have to wake up. They have to get the offense going.
True. We got Dylan Ushler saying the league is against Montreal winning too. Officiating against the Habs has been horrendous this series, and the last one against Vegas. Bettman wants that Vegas money. Well, gentlemen, what do you think about that too with the officiating so far? Because there's been a lot of upheaval, especially at that one game against Vegas where the egregious no call when Corey Perry almost got his face hacked off, and they did not call a penalty on that. And ever since then, it's been very contentious with the officiating. What are you guys thinking?
I try not to pay attention to all that. I think blaming officials for games tends to be a little bit of a cop-out on reasons why teams are losing. I mean, for Montreal, it's been simple. They're just not scoring goals. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Has the officiating been bad? Yeah, but I'm not going to sit there and say games are being cost for it. But, I mean, let's be real. Tampa's in the position they're in because they're scoring. Montreal's not. To me, it's just that simple.
I mean, if this one is claiming that they're targeting Montreal, I'll disagree with that. I think refereeing as a whole against every team has been awful this season. I mean, god awful. They really need to examine, and we talked about that a few shows ago about in terms of these refs having to take tests and earn tenure, which I think was a fabulous idea. But definitely some missed calls, especially. They're going to be under the microscope, as those games start creeping closer towards the semifinals and now in the finals, it's just a bigger spotlight on it. And it went against the Habs, but they showed that resiliency and they've shown it throughout this whole playoffs. I mean, maybe minus the Jets series where they pretty much had a walkover in there to get to the third round. But against Vegas, the back was against the wall. Against Toronto, it was really against the wall. And now they're just in that again. So if any team can come back, from 2-0, or they're being down 0-2, it's certainly this Canadiens team. It's going to be interesting. Game 3 is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, it is. It's just, and to your point, Rob, it's been in every sport too. So it's not just hockey. Officiating on all levels, all leagues, it's all been bad. It's going downhill.
Yeah.
But, in that same breath, you have to realize, like, these guys are playing the game. These guys have to overcome that. They have to, and they shouldn't have to, but they do. They have to overcome the referees.
Right. Well, how you do that is you don't put yourself in the positions to allow the bad calls. I mean, we talked about that in reference to the Flyers many times during this season. And, I think the key thing to your point, asking, where the goal's going to come from, that they need to have an answer for Vasilevsky, it's got to be in the dirty areas. You're not going to score on him clean. He's too hot right now. So you work in the dirty areas. You get those deflections. The classic goals that you've seen teams that, have gone on to hoist the cup before, just work. Like I think of the first, I hate that this is the first name that comes to mind, but you think of David Clarkson, for both Toronto and the New Jersey Devils in the playoffs. That's why he was always that key player because, certainly with the Devils, it paid off and then some, and they got players on this team. They have that blue collar, whether it be Corey Perry, whether it be Joel Armina, you know what I mean? That's what they need to do. And, I can easily see it happen. It's a little harder when you're playing against a bigger team now in Tampa Bay Lightning.
No, absolutely agree. And you pretty much took the words right out of my mouth, literally.
Benny's Nations too.
Yeah, I mean, on the defensive side, they absolutely do. I don't know. I can't in my right mind, knowing that how Montreal has been playing, that officiating could be a part of the reason why they're losing games and all. It's just I hate blaming officials for things. I think it's just an easy cop out.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, though. I mean, like I said, you need guys to step up. Montreal's got nobody stepping up right now, no matter what the call is.
Now, gentlemen, here we have Brian Attard saying, what's up, Brian? Saying, hey, guys, this might be Tampa's last hurrah before the cap decimates the roster. Huge talent disparity. Now, I want to throw this at you guys. We know Tampa is how much over the cap? 20 mil, right?
17
mil. So they're that much over the cap. I thought about, like I said this a little bit ago when it came up. This is starting to become one of those things where a lot of people are bringing it up, and they're bringing a lot of attention to this. Do you see a change in the CBA coming where you cannot be over the cap before the Stanley Cup Finals? Where if it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs, meaning that if you're not cap compliant due to whatever reason, then you need to make adjustments or whatnot. Like, do you see that coming into play here because of this situation? Because it seems to be making the rounds big time, that a lot of people are complaining about this.
I think so, because with the way that Tampa Bay's roster set up right now, they didn't really have much of a choice, and because of that, I think you're gonna see some form of a salary cap come playoff time.
What are you thinking, Rob?
It's tough to judge it right now because kind of in weird times, with the pandemic's effect, keeping the flat, you know what I mean? And you certainly have extended that CBA agreement and they're going to have to, reconvene over that. I think more, in terms of fairness, it makes a lot of sense to do it. You know what I mean? To institute that. But I don't know. They're going to have a hard time doing it right now, is my point.
Gotcha.
Also, real quick before we move on, check out Brian Attard on Blue Talk. Give him a like on Facebook. Check out his show. Yes, Brian does a lot of great stuff. It is primarily Rangers, but he'll talk anybody with you. He's like us. We're primarily Flyers, but we'll talk about any team, any player, anything like that. So check out BA on Blue Talk. He does a great job over there.
Absolutely.
Fuck you, Freddie Freeman. Fuck you.
Fantasy not going so well, I would assume.
It's not. No, this is real life. You got a base knock game winner walk off for Atlanta Braves, but it comes in that 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. I guess he was due, eh?
Yeah. Freddie. I hate Freddie. I love Freddie, but I hate Freddie.
So Brian also says Tampa hasn't lost consecutive playoff games since the Columbus sweep. So damn good. That is an impressive feat to accomplish.
They are 13-0 after losing a playoff game.
So
they lose game 3. Ouch.
Oh boy, they lose game 3, and then Montreal bet. So then that means game 4 is going to either be the end of Montreal or it's going to be the confirmation of Montreal winning the cup. So then that would mean that if Montreal wins game 3 and then they win game 4, then it's like, holy shit, Tampa just lost consecutive games. And then Montreal will ride that wave to an eventual cup.
Hopefully BA can throw a little juju out there and
give
Montreal a couple wins here.
Yeah, baby. Oh, let's see here. Oh, Ralph. What's up, Ralph? Saying, would absolutely love for the Flyers to make a run at Seth Jones this summer, and I do have some news and notes on that. Right now, as it stands, there are still rumors going around right now. Flyers are definitely a big part of it. There are a few teams that are still getting some murmurs around them. The Rangers are one of them. Colorado, surprisingly, has a few. And Calgary actually is in the conversation. So there's a few teams that are running around. I mean, the Flyers are still heavily favored still right now. But right now, that rumor mill is still running wild at this point.
Yeah, I got a couple wild. Running wild. I got a couple deals that we can read off from like 4 teams. They're just scenario situations. I don't know if you guys would like the Flyers one.
Well, we might as well hear him.
I might have heard it already, but go on.
It's possible that you already did. Let me pull it up here real quick. It won't take but a second. All right, so this is according to Columbus Blue Jackets reporter Aaron Portzline. He put together some speculative trade packages with the four front runners for Seth Jones here. So we got the Chicago Blackhawks giving up Kurashev, Boudin, Reichel, and the 2022 first-round pick to get Seth Jones. That's not a bad deal. It's a lot less that they would give up than I thought.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's not a bad deal at all.
We got the Colorado Avalanche giving up Yost, Ranta, Barron, and a 2021 first-round pick, so they'd be giving up their first pick this year. Not terrible.
No, not terrible either. And you're not giving up. I mean, it's a first-round pick, but still, it's a lower first-round pick. So
you have the LA Kings here, which I would cry if they got him because they already got Victor Arvidsson, and I'm not happy about that. And apparently they're in on Tarasenko. If they get Seth Jones, I will cry.
Yeah, there has been that rumor's been flying around.
Kings would give up Kempe, Thomas, Bjornfot, and a 2022 first-round pick. Again, not a terrible deal. Here comes the Flyers.
All right, let's brace for impact.
Brace for impact. You got your 2022 first-round pick.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're saying that they're going to give up Phil Myers, Morgan Frost, and Rob's new favorite player, Wisdom.
Oh, really? Oh, come on. Well,
just speculative. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that is the best deal, honestly, of the four. It's the best deal for Columbus.
Yeah, which is why I think so many people are tapping the Flyers to get him, because it seems like the Flyers are giving up the most to get him.
Yeah.
Where, other teams are giving up good role players, but nothing major. Whereas Phil Myers has a lot of potential on him, not as much as, say, a Morgan Frost, but definitely still don't want to necessarily move on from them. But, I mean, Wisdom, too, you don't really know what Wisdom is. We haven't really seen him in a Flyers jersey. Would love to keep him for the story, but, if it comes down to it, you make that trade-off for Seth Jones. It's kind of
proven top defenseman.
It's an understandable, deal. I mean, it is what it is.
In my opinion, he's the best two-way defenseman in hockey, too. So I would give up. Now, granted, there's no granted here. I would absolutely give that up in a heartbeat to get him in there.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, much to your surprise, Baby Brian. I am very high on Wisdom, and I think he could be a great Philadelphia Flyer. But Maddie's right. When you could trade unproven at the NHL level talent, you don't know how that could work. He could be a bust. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're getting value. What I don't like about the deal is that you're getting low value on Phil Myers. You'd want to, if you're going to sell Phil Myers, you want to sell him more coming off his 2019-2020 season versus, this down year for him. So, I mean, he's a kid that could take right back off and get back up to that level. And you're still getting Seth Jones. I get it, but, I would rather them try to, move someone else than Phil Myers, to be honest.
No, I understand. The only thing, that may lessen his value a little bit is knowing that he was an undrafted prospect.
Yeah, kind of just he was a flash in the pan a little bit,
Kind of, yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, he was so good in the minors, though. I mean, that's what rose him up the ranks to get to where he was, or what have you. So it wasn't, it wasn't just a 1 year deal. You know what I mean? It's been multi-years for him. But I get it. You know what I mean? So that's what makes trading so tough. But I still think you're not getting as much as you could. if they wanted to throw another player in with that, then maybe we're talking. You know what I mean? Another player with promise.
Yeah, no, and we're not. It's not saying anything that there isn't going to be something else coming the Flyers' way.
Right.
Because, like I said, Benny's right here. Unless Chicago puts maybe Kirby Dach in on that deal, Flyers, that's the best deal. So maybe you get Seth Jones, maybe you get a couple picks back in return, maybe you get Seth Jones, maybe you figure out a way to maybe. And I'm not saying that I would be completely on board with this, but just off the top of my head, maybe send him like a, I don't know, Patrick Laine?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. His attitude scares me. So I don't necessarily know if I even want Laine. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, from what I've seen, that's the best deal that I've seen so far.
Yeah. And then Prism also goes on to say Chicago better not put Doc in the deal.
I was just about to say when he wrote those words, I could see Prism yelling and scaring Rocky. He's like, "Oh, hell's no!"
Oh my goodness! I said Patrick Laine, and poof, here comes Ryan Brodo.
Yeah. He said, did someone say Patrick Laine?
He's been up in the chat all day.
He also, way back here in the chat, he also goes on to say this. He says, after watching this Tampa Bay team, I have a strong feeling that the Flyers might be 20 years away from being a contender.
No.
I think Brodo, it's okay, man. I get it. The Sixers lost. That was bullshit. Calm down. Relax.
Oh.
It's okay, brother. I know you're about ready to jump off the bridge, but pull it back. We don't want to see you do it.
Milwaukee's starting to pull away now. 109-94, about halfway through the fourth quarter. What was I going to say?
Poor Brodo, broken.
No, I mean the Flyers aren't 20 years off, but they're not incredibly far away. They need to start just letting this new nucleus take over and start shifting some of these other guys out.
Yeah, it's a challenge to say the least. Now, actually, that does bring up something that was said by Brian Attard here, saying Seth Jones is going to be a painful trade and even more painful contract. The assets and the money together makes it so much more difficult to swallow, which is true. And there is a debate going around of why the deal hasn't exactly gone down yet. Columbus was trying to sign him to an extension. They kind of want him to sign one now before following through on a trade. So that's the other issue too. It's like, oh boy, if he doesn't sign an extension, then that's when you're like, okay, then you don't know exactly what the money situation will be. So there's a whole other monkey wrench that gets thrown into those negotiations.
Well, that's why I said it last week. That's why I prefer Dougie Hamilton, because Seth Jones could be a more trickier situation. You know what I mean? I mean, I got, Seth Jones is like, that's a juicy player to get in the offseason. You know what I mean? What the fans want to see or whatever. But Dougie Hamilton is right there as well. Then maybe even going a step down from that with Matthias Ekholm, as well as other names that we've mentioned. I think you'd have to see that extension first before you do anything.
Real quick before we continue on this, Don, shut up.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that's about this. Yeah.
You shut your mouth when you're commenting in the chat.
You're lucky you remember. If you got a problem, let me know. We'll get you on the show.
Oh, you're finally a member. Thank you, Don. Thank you.
Come on down. Send him the link. Let's go.
Send him the link, Maddie. Let's go. You want to talk shit? You're going to talk shit. You're going to come on here and talk some shit.
Well, if I'm going to send him the link.
Don't actually send him the link. I don't think he'll actually come on with us. He's a little too scared. $9.99 a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember all kind of perks. You can even come on here and curse us out when we bust your balls.
Well, Kevin Dixon is he's still. I agree. Know your role, Don, and Don saying Carter Hart in Detroit. Who would say no? I think Carter Hart would say no. Honestly, he'd be like, nah, that's okay. I already have a hard enough time dealing with the defense in Philly.
Don, you and I are going to fight, bro. You leave Trevor Zegras out of this.
Now that's a much more possible situation going on over there.
Maddie, I'll drop you to the computer too.
Trevor Zegras to Detroit confirmed.
It's a three-way deal. It sends Eichel to Anaheim, where in response Zegras goes to Detroit, and Detroit sends whatever, pube shavings they have to Buffalo, since that's all they're worth. Anyway,
Eichel's not going anywhere.
Speaking of that, yeah, all love done. But speaking of that too, Jack Eichel actually, by the way, wants to do an experimental procedure on his neck because he does have that injury that he hasn't gotten taken care of yet. However, though, the Sabres are not exactly happy with him doing that because they're worried that that'll complicate his recovery, maybe even cause more damage than actually fixing any problems. So that's an interesting little news fact to come up with, that Eichel is thinking about getting an experimental procedure. So that may ward people off, though, possibly. It might ward people off.
Well, I don't think he's going anywhere to begin with. I think it's a tough situation that he is in, and I get that his relationship with the front office has been strayed.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: if he goes through with this and it works, it's a huge payoff. You get your Jack Eichel back. But I see the other side of this of the coin too, where what happens if it doesn't work? What happens if it makes things worse? We're not going to know unless he does it. And it's not worth. It's not worth it.
Fucking Benny's Nation. Oh my god, that shit's great.
I'm gonna give you a whiplash.
A little crick from looking up all the time.
Oh
no,
my god.
I think it's better if Eichel does do it and they let him do his thing, because the risk is worth the reward. You get a healthy Jack Eichel back. That's going to be huge for Buffalo. It's going to be huge for Buffalo. Now they just need to get whatever the hell is wrong with them fixed, and they could potentially be a playoff team in the next 30 to 40 years.
Meanwhile, Jesse's saying Sabres are on the 2010-2017 Cleveland Brown territory for the biggest shit show to ever shit show. They just need to change their color to brown, and then they've got it all covered. But anyway.
Yeah. I see no lies.
I don't either. Like, people used to think Detroit, but people, I'm going to tell you something. There's guys that are playing in Detroit right now that want to go back.
Mm.
So that's saying something about that organization where they are.
Plus, also,
Bobby Ryan wants to go back. He wants to sign back there. Apparently, Jonathan Bernier wants to sign back there. So they're doing something right there. I mean, maybe Jeff Blashill is not the best coach, but they're doing something right in the organization.
Plus, I think we can all agree, too. I think we've seen the worst from Detroit. I think it's only going up from this point forward. I think they've seen the worst over there.
Yeah.
Well, it speaks volumes to their organization. I mean, it's a class. I'm not going to call it like it is. It's a class organization. People want to stay. It's a good culture there. You know what I mean? That they built. So, it irregardless of the losses right now. You know what I mean? That's what players want to play in.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Especially when you got that young culture. You're starting to find that winning side of it. You're putting all the young pieces together. Things are starting to get exciting, and vets want to be a part of it. Especially when you're on that brink of finally getting that to that point where you're like, all right, we can compete now. Let's go.
Yeah. Prism saying, imagine a doctor looking at the physical representation of the Sabres as a human. It'd be Bono from South Park episode. Just a giant breathing POS.
Probably weighing about 85 Kirks.
And Benny's Nation also saying nice callback on that one. So good on you, Pris.
Roscoe, that trade ain't happening, bro.
Jesse Davis also saying, if we get Seth Jones, can York be our Cam Atkinson? Yeah, that would be interesting.
It's a good question. We'll find that one out in time.
True, absolutely. Oh, yes, and by the way...
What's up, Jesse? So what's up, Jesse?
What's up, Jesse? By the way, everybody who's shitting on Cam York because Cole Caulfield's having himself one hell of a playoff run, for fuck's sake, can you let Cam York have a chance to prove himself on the Flyers? For fuck's sake. Yes,
It's
Cole
not-
Caulfield's having an amazing postseason, but
Not
god
just that.
damn.
It's
you
not
know?
just that. The people are irritated at the fact that he's already up, 2, he's already effective, and 3, the Flyers pass on him twice.
Yeah, it's just
You pass up on the best goal scorer in the draft not once, twice for a defenseman that they didn't really even need.
yeah, I get that, but it's like, come on, like, jeez,
The expectations for Cam York are higher now because of it.
Well, you know what? Hey, I expect him to rise to the challenge. And I believe
do
he
too.
will.
I do too. But
So,
It is
to me,
what
I
it
just feel like, like, calm down, everyone. It's like, and pretty much the major reason why most people did actually pass on Caulfield was his size. Which, to be fair, I think that's a dumb reason because you know what? All you gotta do is look at Danny Briere and you realize size is not an issue.
not
That's
even Danny.
really not.
There's a lot. And by the way, Cole Caulfield reminds me a lot of Danny Briere.
Yes, I agree.
Just his play style. But yeah, we've seen plenty. How many guys have we seen small that are still on the smaller side step up and have good careers?
I like the dollar figure.
The 420 for we want Don from prison. He's paying to try and get Don on the show. I love it. We thank you for that, for the support there.
We
As always.
we start monsters here when it comes to certain things, and our monster is usually Prism.
Yeah, usually.
Here, Don, you can jump in for me. I'm gonna go have a smoke.
Yeah.
That's why we love you, Prez.
And Benny's Nation saying I like Cam a lot, and I agree.
It's hard not
I
to.
agree.
It's hard not to like Cam, but when you have the best goal scorer in that draft fall to you twice and you pass on him twice, and then you see what he's doing right now in the NHL on the highest stage possible, it's tough to sit there and be like, we passed on this guy twice. Cam York needs to be a future Hall of Famer, essentially. He needs to be amazing. And I think it's justified.
Oh,
I think it's justified.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't have high expectations for Cam York. But I feel like you should have high expectations for all your first round draft picks. Doesn't matter where you're picking them at. You know what I mean? It's like you're the first round draft pick, even later in the rounds. Like first round draft pick, you have a lot of expectations on you. You know, I mean that's why when you see second round, even second round has a lot of expectation on because a lot of great players have come out of the second round. And
Agreed.
a lot of Hall of Famers came out of there. You know, so
third round as well. And I get your point. I totally get where you're coming from, and I agree. But in that same breath, you know, a lot of people wanted him. He had a lot of good hype behind him. And the Flyers passed on him twice for a defenseman that they didn't need at the time. That they probably could have gotten it earlier in the second round.
Listen, the Flyers have made a lot of stupid decisions in their draft history, so just put that on the tab. The Flyers have done it before. Unfortunately, they'll probably do it again. So it is what it is. But anyway,
a lot of ATD members in here love it. See Jesse finally getting in on it. Cameron Ireland, I see. Although he was here, he was a member for a while now. But it's nice to see a lot of the members jumping in here. We need to get some more. Some more.
Absolutely, $9.99 a month, absolutely worth it. And he's saying we're basically asking Cam York to be Chris Pronger, and we're screwed. I mean, I don't know if we're screwed. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, but I mean, come on now.
Pronger, but he definitely needs to show that he definitely belongs up here, and he definitely belongs to be a top pairing defenseman.
Yeah.
But
And
he's not going to be forever. I mean, it's not going to be immediate, and that's fine. But Cam York is going to really have to show that he was worth taking over Cole Caulfield right now.
Yeah, I got you. Jesse's saying, whatever happened to the Russian first rounder German Rubstov or something like that? I lost track on the progress of that dude.
They don't like him.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
think the
picking him
Flyers
anymore.
Yeah, they've given up on him basically.
I think it's a lot of his attitude. I think they're not fond of, but last I heard, they're not huge on him. Whatever, I don't know what happened, but they're not very big on him right now.
Benny's Nation does bring up a good point, though. He says, I think it's too early to judge either player. Caulfield could easily be another Jeff Skinner.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. But everything that everybody's basing off of right now is based off of what he's doing. And like I said, think about the stage that he's doing it on. He's doing it in the NHL playoffs. It's not like it's the regular season. He's doing it in the NHL playoffs.
I mean,
And he's not just doing offensive things right. He's doing all the intangibles right. He's doing the little things right. Putting himself in good positions to make defensive plays, get loose pucks. I've seen him get in a couple of the dirty areas. He made a great play to break up a breakaway the other night. It's not just his offensive scoring. It's everything he's done. And it's a great point by Benny. It is early. It's very early, but based off of what we're seeing right now, the Flyers were dumb to pass on Cole Caulfield. And I thought they were dumb to pass on him when they didn't draft him. But I mean, like Benny said, it is too early, but there's a lot of hype behind this kid, and he was absolutely amazing in college. And he's just coming off a 43 goal season.
Yeah, but again, it'll be interesting. 82 game season next year. Let's see how he handles himself during the regular season with Montreal. And so Greg, what's up, Greg? Saying, what up, fellas? Sorry I'm late. Disagree with the poll. The Canadiens are way past trouble.
Greg, when aren't you late? You're late for everything. Love you, brother.
Eileen's here. Good evening, gentlemen. How are y'all doing? I'm fine, Eileen. Hopefully you're doing well.
Eileen, hope everything's going well. Rob sends his regards.
I did.
You did.
You gave it the office. But let's see here. Prism saying, putting in the dollar amount of $6.66, saying, we want Don. He is trying so hard to get Don on the air. And the funny thing is, I haven't seen a comment from him since.
I was going to say, I haven't seen Don in a while. Where's he at?
What are we up to? $10.80? That's more than a membership.
Hey,
for you.
Yeah, there you go.
It's appreciated.
Yes, absolutely. Jesse saying Braden Point, Tyler Johnson, Blake Coleman, big players for Tampa that are smaller guys, and that is true.
Yep.
But
I mean, Tyler Johnson's production has kind of dropped a little bit, but I also think that's because right now I think he's playing on a third line. But that's just because of how deep Tampa Bay is right now.
Right.
Yeah. That's definitely deep when you could put Tyler Johnson in your third line. He would be second line here, maybe even first on this team.
I hate how good Braden Point is. That's all
Braden Point almost broke Reggie Leach's record. He didn't. He got very, very close, though. He had 9 as opposed to the 10, but that's pretty damn impressive. He had 9. In this day and age, that's impressive. So, Frank chiming in third. The Canadiens are in trouble. Pardon my French, as they say.
What's that? I don't know what that means.
Well, I don't know either. So,
coming from Frank, I think it's probably better that we don't figure that out.
I want to say shit, but I don't know.
So,
possibility.
Somebody will know. Anyway, all right, gentlemen. So, after seeing games 1 and 2, getting ready to go into game 3, the Lightning, while yes, they won game 2, they didn't win it by much. They won game 1 a little bit more, a little bit more dominant. So now, going back to the Bell Center, getting into game 3, what do you guys expect to happen here? What are you looking for?
I mean, you got to kind of feed off. If you're the Montreal Canadiens, you got to feed off what you did right in game 2, and that's put a lot of rubber on Vasilevsky. You got to keep up that effort. Enjoy the home ice, enjoy the getting last change, and on the face-offs, and just keep on grinding against them. That's their game. That's what's gotten them to this point. Why would you stop now? You know what I mean? And You know, it's the toughest task they've had, but it should be if you want to hoist that cup. And what's going to be great about this game, Maddie, is that this is going to be the first Stanley Cup Finals game since the Montreal Canadiens hoisted number 23, I believe it was, in 93.
Yep, number 23 and 93. Yep.
Right.
I always thought it was 24, but I was wrong. It's like, oh, it's 23 they have. Okay, they're trying to get 24 now.
I'm right about something that happens about once a week, but it used to be once a month, so I'm improving.
More often than me. For me, they have to try and get Tampa Bay to take a couple more penalties here and there and try and kind of get under the skin a little bit more for them to take those stupid penalties. But I agree with you, Rob, wholeheartedly. Just keep peppering Vasilevsky with shots. The pucks are going to go in eventually at some point.
Yeah.
You know, Tampa Bay's doing a really good job of keeping Montreal out of the prime areas.
Yep.
Montreal's got a bunch of small guys. Make a couple plays up on the fly and get some of those guys to sneak in there. I mean, Kakaniemi's a smaller guy who can get in there. Joel Armina, who is huge on the penalty kill, do something to maybe get him going a little bit. But the big thing is to continue to pepper shots. These guys need to get the offense going. 2 goals in 2 games is not going to be good enough. And that's my big thing is get the offense going.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only going to be 3,500 again still in the Bell Center, but still, you could feed off that energy of you got, a long storied franchise back to the finals for the first time in 28 years. I expect them to come off hot. I expect the Canadiens to really bring the pressure right away, and it's going to be, the game's going to really dictate, can the Lightning withstand that initial rush, hold their, their fort, and then go on and ultimately win the game and go up 3-0. Well, if any team can do it, certainly the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they can get a jump on them, maybe get out to a quick 2-goal lead, 2-0 lead, and then sit back. And I don't want to say sit back, let me correct myself, but really, clog up the neutral zone and keep them at bay. That could be a good recipe for success.
I like that.
And we got Jesse chiming in. He's saying the problem is with Tampa, they can play however you want to play them, and will beat you at your own game. The Columbus series was like that. It was like the Embiid cry. Post cry, he was different, and Tampa got physically tough.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I like what Benny said, because I think this is the absolute truth as well. Gallagher needs to start playing like Brendan Gallagher. I love that you see him poking and chopping and hacking away, but this dude needs to step up and be Brendan Gallagher again and start scoring some damn goals. That's the only reason why this team is down. It's not that they can't compete. It's not that they can't, hold Tampa to X amount of goals. It's they're not scoring right now. They gave up 1 power play goal, I think, in each game, if I'm not mistaken. So we know the penalty kill's doing their part. We need to get the power. They need to get the power play going for sure. They need to score goals. They need to take advantage of some of these opportunities that they're getting. And they've had a bunch of really good ones. They're getting pucks on net. They need to figure out how to beat Vazzy. And they need to stop getting the chances from the same 3 or 4 players. They need to start rolling 4 lines like they were against Toronto, where they were only and through Winnipeg, where they never gave up a lead, never not had a lead. So they need to get back to that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we have one Brian Wilson who is saying "fuck Canada," and he's also saying, "What's up, gents? What's up, Will? How's it going, brother?"
He's not going to like my Montreal Canadiens jersey I have on back behind me.
And Cameron saying, I want to see what adjustments Montreal are going to make since they got the last line change now. They could put the Caulfield line in better situations for offense and won't have to defend as often.
Love it. Love it.
So that should be interesting.
This is why I love our fan base, man. This is why I love our fan base. They bring up great points. We have intelligent hockey fans here.
We do. We have a very, very great fan base here, man. That's the best part of it. Is that like we think that we know stuff, but they know so much, and it's like, holy crap! I didn't even think about that. That's amazing.
Jesse, that's a great point. He does need up. He's on the line with Philip Deneau. Philip Deneau's a good setup, man. He's not much of a goal scorer, but these guys, they need to get going. They need to get going. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They got to get back to that scoring touch they had.
They do. Benny's Nation responds to Will says, not on Canada Day. No, I think Will absolutely is well aware that it is Canada Day.
Which apparently a lot of Canadians are not celebrating properly.
Really?
Apparently they want to do away with Canada Day.
Interesting. Well, that would not fly in the United States. You imagine people trying to get rid of the 4th of July? Oh my God, there would be riots in the streets, even worse than the freaking storming of the Capitol or the BLM riots. Good God. Hell, actually, that would make the freaking civil rights riots back in the day, that would make that seem tamed compared to the crap that would go on that. But anyway.
I'm not going to get too much into this, but apparently they were all set up anyway, so, whatever. Let's move on.
Anyway.
Yeah, Benny, Cameron is on point.
So, all right, gents. So, Game 3 should be interesting. Before we move on from that topic, score, prediction. What are we getting here from you guys?
Well, I know Priz's score. I know Priz's prediction already. 4-3 Habs.
All right.
My guy. I don't know. Let's go 5-4 Habs in overtime.
Wow, barn burner.
I mean, it's what it's been so far.
Interesting. Robbie, what you thinking?
I'm going to go on the other end of the spectrum. I'm going to go along with my hypothesis there that Canadians get a good jump, get that 2-goal lead, and those 2 goals carry them to victory, 2-1. Carey Price standing on his head. And I mean, I say it based on, they've been, like I said, 5-1 since, 5-3 overall sounds, about mediocre, but 5-1 since those, first round, 2 losses, some big games against, a good Winnipeg team, very good Vegas Golden Knights team. This is their toughest test, a very good, if not the best in the NHL, Tampa Bay Lightning, but that's what Carey Price does. That's why you have him between the pipes. He steals games. 2-1. And we know I've been pretty solid all playoff run with my score predictions.
Yeah.
So I may have to lay some money on this one. I got to see where the line is first.
Meanwhile, Prism saying 4-3 Habs. It sounds a little similar to, what Brian was saying there. A little similar.
You, that's what Prism goes with every prediction. We don't even ask anymore in our chat. We know where Priz is. 4-3 every time.
Benny's Nation saying 3-1 Habs.
I like it.
Jesse's got the whole series planned out for the rest. He's got 4-1 Tampa. Then he's got Game 4, 3-2 Habs. And then Game 5, he's got 4-2 Tampa, and Tampa wins the Cup in 5.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm leaning towards Jesse being right there.
Meanwhile, Cameron is saying, I got 4-2 Lightning.
Cameron, you had me until there. No, I'm just kidding. Unfortunately, I can see that happening too.
So right now, if the chat has it this way, we've got Prism on the Habs side, and we got Benny on the Habs side. Jesse's on Tampa side. Cameron's on Tampa side. We are split down the middle right now. So 2 for the Lightning, 2 for the Habs on that one.
You're going to have to be the tiebreaker, Maddie.
Ooh, the
for
ball
me,
baby's on.
Honestly, I'm thinking Carey Price. He had a great game in Game 2, but it's not going to be good enough for him. And he's a game player. We know he is. He's won Vezina trophies. He's the reason why Montreal has always been competitive. Doesn't matter what team's in front of him. I would say at the end of the day, 2-1 Habs win. Very tight game. I think
Boy, Matty.
I think Montreal plays a very strong defensive game because they were in game 2, and I think they consistently show that. And I think it's a 2-1 Habs victory. Price does an amazing job.
You know, I agree with you.
Matty,
saying, come on.
I've never been proud of you.
Thank you.
No, you know I don't say that often either.
No, actually, you never do. So
I don't think I have actually ever. Hey.
There we go. First time for everything. We can mark this in A2D history, not just hockey happy hour history, but A2D history. Mark it the fuck down.
Even when he was producing FDN, me and Matty never agreed on anything.
Well, honestly, I never really said anything out of FDN.
Exactly. That's my point.
Oh God! I mean, let's be honest here. We've had more heated discussions. I mean, God, I was thinking about the angry rants that we had back and forth on the Canadian female hockey player that won the silver medal and took the medal off. Oh God, that was a nice.
I remember that one.
That was a good argument to end the show.
Yeah, that was. We had a couple of good ones to end the show. I think we had one. Matty, I think you and I got into. What was it? We got into it on Eric Lindros's Hall of Fame.
Yes,
whether or not
we
he was
did.
ready or not. Yeah, we got into it on that.
We got in on that one. That was yeah. Agree to disagree. Fun. Never know when you're going to get those crazy arguments. That's why you shouldn't manufacture them. Always wait until they organically spring to life, and then you're just like, oh, okay. Now this just got real fun. But anyway,
I just like how you would, you like poke the fire sometimes. Yeah. What was the one thing you would always say? I was like, oh yeah, how did Timo Solani ever get into the Hall of Fame? He didn't do anything special. And I'm like,
me and Brodo used to do that on purpose because we knew it'd piss you off. That was during
one time I just absolutely went off on you guys, and you and Brodo were laughing hysterically in the background. I'm like,
oh, I think that was when Clinky was on the show too. I think it was Clinky was on the show and he was crying, laughing too.
You guys set me up. It's all good. I'll get you bastards back. Don't worry.
Yeah. You have. But Jesse's saying, from Tampa's perspective, they just need to split 1-1 in Montreal and have a chance to win it at home. Tough to go against that. Yeah, it's true. I mean, Tampa's in a nice spot here. They put Montreal in behind the 8 ball here. So yeah, that's why I said Montreal has to win both games. You don't want to be down 3-1 to Tampa. Like I said before, is it impossible for Montreal to make that comeback? Absolutely not. But at the same time, it's hard against Tampa. Yes, though, Tampa has not exactly been great at finishing off series in this year's playoff. But again, you're down 3-1, tough mountain to climb. Or being down 3-0, even worse.
Well, I mean, even 2-0 is tough mountain to climb. But Montreal, I still think they're a good enough team to climb right back into this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they need to score. They need to figure out ways to get pucks past Vasilevsky, who's been just absolutely ridiculously on point the entire postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but with that, gentlemen, that's what we got for Game 3 and what to expect on that side in our predictions. Now, let's go take a look at what's going on around the NHL, because a lot has happened. We had plenty of rumors swirling. We did have a trade, the first of probably plenty to come moving forward. Although maybe, well, I don't know. How do you guys feel with the flat cap? Do you see a ton of trades happening, or do you see more free agent signings?
I did more trades, I think, than signings. Would be my guy.
All right. What about you, Brian? What are you thinking? More signings, or do you think more trades with the flat cap?
He might have stepped away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because it's certainly like I don't think there's going to be a lot of activity overall. You know what I mean? Because unless you're equating deals, maybe some trades to unload salary in order to make a secondary deal. That's why I think it might be a little bit more. Might see like little more minor deals as GMs try to do creatively. Working the cap, the flat cap. So. Signings, it depends on how many teams are well below that, I mean, I'm sure there's a few of them. I'm just not privy to them right now.
Yeah, I got you. And let's see here. Prism saying Timu Solani made the haul, yet Nail Kaprizov is going to end up on the outside looking in. Where's the justice?
No justice.
That's always good. All right, so let's see here. For the news here, obviously, unfortunately, we will address the elephant in the room, and it is not a good one. Unfortunately, the Chicago Blackhawks allegations against their organization, specifically their top brass, for apparently having knowledge of a former coach named Brad Aldrich, who apparently was trying to strong-arm sexual acts from 2 former Chicago Blackhawks players. Those players have remained nameless, but they are the 2 who are bringing those allegations up. And then there is an independent investigation, by the way, going into all of this. Brad Aldrich also used the Blackhawks as a reference to get a job at a high school, and he also wound up getting charged with a sex offense while he was coaching the high school hockey team because apparently he had committed sexual acts with a 17-year-old. So, as horrible as these acts are and as disgusting as they are, apparently the accusations are that the Chicago Blackhawks top brass knew about this and did nothing about it. So, yeah, unfortunately, this is very serious, and this was addressed by Gary Bettman. He had not addressed it previously, but he did at his press conference before the Stanley Cup Final. Right now, he is waiting until the independent investigation is officially done and brings up any details as usual. He is saying that the NHL, if necessary, will assess punishments to the Blackhawks organization or against individuals in the organization. But they are waiting for the details of this matter to come to light. And he did go on to say that these are allegations. We shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. But that's what Gary Bettman said in his press conference regarding this.
Yeah, I mean, you are innocent until proven guilty, and there should be an investigation. Just as we've seen concluded in Major League Baseball in regard to Jared Porter, and if proven true, then you throw the book. I mean, it's terrible, disgusting. What's the worst part about this story, Batty, for me, is the organization sweeping under the rug. You see that far too many times in professional sports. Especially when it comes to sexual molestation, that they're too afraid of the black eye that they'll give the organization. So if it's already quiet, we're just going to keep it quiet. We're going to keep it under wraps. That to me just very poor moral fiber. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to. No, you do have to expose it. You do need to bring it to light and say, hey, look, we're going to do this investigation. But for now, this coach or this player or this upper level, employee, front office employee, is on leave until we conclude this. I mean, you do the stand-up thing, sweeping under the rug. All it does is hurt the victims.
Absolutely, it does, and it's just absolutely disgusting. I mean, to sweep something like that under the rug just says a lot about that organization. Well, at least the ownership of the organization. Like, you can't. These allegations, I just don't even know where to start. I'll be honest with you. Like, makes me so sick. I don't know. I think you guys covered it pretty well. I don't know if there's much more I can say that.
Yeah,
it's surprising it's coming out of Chicago. That's what's surprising for me, that it's coming. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't label them as you know what I mean?
And and the sad part of it is, you would think that being a team that has done so much for hockey, not just in Chicago, but just period, being an Original Six franchise, you would think that, the Blackhawks organization would want to try and not put their players in danger and other people, other minors eventually in danger, and would want this man not only removed, but also to have an investigation conducted internally. And then eventually leading to an inevitable release and then, prosecution possibly. But, you would think that the organization would want to look into that. And if that's the case, they just decided not to look into it. It's like, no, that's just not right. it's definitely something that's just like, you would think that it would be a much more upstanding organization than that, like you were saying, Rob.
Right.
I mean, possibly maybe they were putting it under the rug because they had no proof of it. I don't know. I'm not going to try and even defend that, but it's just absolutely boggles my mind that, it's just in the world that we're in right now, that it's just still things that, people are hiding. And I kind like, in my mind, I get it, but, I watch a lot of Law and Order SVU, so in the same breath, it's just kind of like these guys don't bring it up. I don't think these guys bring it up right away because they're incredibly embarrassed by it, and
understandable.
it just needs to. No, absolutely. I just don't think most people know how to react and shock and awe and all that stuff. But I don't know. It's like Prish just said. It's a disgusting feeling, and I'm not even a Blackhawks fan like that. I just don't know how.
Yeah.
I just don't know where they go from here.
Yeah. That's tough. That's good. That's real tough, especially if the independent investigation does prove these details to be true. Then it's a real rough situation going into next season for the Blackhawks.
Gets real nasty too.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Prism saying first we get Taves back and yay, and then your video guy. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, and then Duncan Keith possibly being traded. It's not a good time period for the Blackhawks at this point. It's a bad situation going on all around.
Very roller coaster. Very roller coaster.
But
on a positive Chicago note, hey, Blackhawks are getting Taves back.
True. Jonathan Taves is aiming to make a return for next season. So,
that's what's key. It's not. It's good. It's a better prospectus than I had thought. But he still had this very rare, immune disease. You know what I mean? Like his aim is to get back, and it's looking more favorably than it has since he left on medical leave. But hopefully, I don't mean to be negative Nancy. I mean, I have all the hope in the world for him that he gets back. He's one of the best players that I've ever seen play this game, and I want to see him play again. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he will. But it's still a scary thing. Very scary thing.
No, absolutely. And the fact that he's already back on the ice and starting to get back into a routine and build his body, and one of the things that he had learned through this whole process was, he put too much stress onto his body, and his body was playing essentially shut itself down, and he's learning how to cope now, and learning how to not be so stressed and put stress on his body, and giving himself time to relax and be healthy and all this other stuff that he was saying. But I'm just excited that he's coming back, and it's Captain Serious. Captain, what do they call him? Captain Serious. I think there was another one involving his forehead that was actually pretty funny. And it's great to have Taves back. I think Chicago fans are going to be thrilled. I think he does. I think he works his way back to the opening night roster, and I think he'll be there.
All right, then. So, turning that gear over to the next topic, Andre Teregni becomes the new head coach of the Arizona Coyotes. I was going to look up some of the stats that he had in his coaching career up to this point, but gentlemen, what are you thinking about this new coaching, decision here after letting go of Rick Tocchet and moving on? What do you think? What are you thinking right now for the Arizona Coyotes at this point?
I think it's a good move. I mean, I got to admit, I'm not familiar with them, but I mean, that's got to indicate that he must be a relatively unknown coach, and I think that's the direction that I would go. You're going from that big name coach. He's been maybe more prominent as a player, but certainly has had his fair turn behind the bench as well. And you go to a guy like kind of, to me, it kind of seems like what the Flyers did when they went to Dave Haxtell.
Yeah, thinking outside the box a little bit, seeing if maybe that'll be the answer to the problem. And his history, apparently, he was an assistant coach of the Ottawa Senators in 2015 and 16, and an assistant coach of the Colorado Avalanche 2013 and 2015 as well. So he has 2 teams he's assistant coach, so this will be his first head coaching role in Arizona.
I see. I wonder what he was doing in between.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Resume, huh?
Yeah. And Jesse's saying, I'm not familiar, but Arizona did need to move on. Yeah, I mean,
I think
well,
I thought it was time.
Yeah, and Arizona had tried with Rick Tocchet, I think it was 3 seasons, and it wasn't working. You would see Arizona go through these moments where it looked like maybe, but then in reality, you just, in the back of your head, you're like, no. You just knew it wasn't going to last, and it usually didn't.
I'm curious where they're going to go from here. I mean, I wasn't a particular fan of Rick Tocchet. I thought they had a little bit of success, and that success eventually turned into failure. I don't know. I think it's a huge culture thing out in Arizona, and they're putting some of the right pieces together. They just, I don't know.
Jesse Hackstool. Don't talk about the greatest coach in Seattle Kraken's history like that.
Jesse,
I'm happy for Dave, man. That's great. I hope he does extremely well in Seattle.
Yeah,
I think his time in Toronto is going to be beneficial for him.
Mm-hmm. Watch the Flyers and the Kraken meet each other in the Stanley Cup final. Oh my God!
Only in NHL 21.
Well, actually, it could be 22.
Yeah, Flyers fans' heads will fucking explode.
So give me the over/under of whether the home club there in Seattle is going to regularly put on that scene from what is that movie? Battle of the Titans. I believe.
Oh yeah, the Clash
Release
of the
the
Titans.
Kraken.
Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
Oh, that's going to probably.
Kraken.
Yeah. Oh God.
I would say the over/under is the same amount of home games. So we'll say 841, 673. I'm going to take the over.
I'm gonna say a little bit more because of overtimes. I'm gonna say that too. Throw them in there as well.
Yeah, Jesse, absolutely. Look at their chops at who to pick from Tampa.
Yeah,
because they got to break up. Like BA was saying earlier, they're gonna have to break this up.
Yeah,
there's $17 million over the cap right now. They have to break it up.
It'll be very, very interesting to see where they go on the expansion draft, which is on the horizon, actually. So we're only, 3 weeks away, I think?
It's going to be an incredibly tough decision, too.
Yeah. So it'll be very, very interesting. Now, actually, teams, I do believe, have to get their protection list in, I believe, by the end of this week, is it not? Or is it next week? I believe that. Yeah, they have to get them in real soon, actually. So that should be interesting. Prism saying July 21st. So that'll be when we will officially have the expansion draft. And for the Seattle Kraken, so it'll be interesting. The NHL doing one team at a time instead of 2 teams at a time like it had in the past. It did wonders for Vegas.
Well, hopefully this is going to be the last one.
Yeah, now that they've filled that last little gleaming hole that was in the Western Conference. And Jesse's saying
Western Conference alone.
Yeah. And Jesse saying Tampa being one of 2 teams to vote against the current cap loophole if professional hockey gods gave them good karma. Yeah, you know what? That's what it was. It's like, we didn't want this loophole, but we'll take the benefit of it. Let's see. Prism saying Bobby Ryan, Bernier, and Tarasenko on their opening line. That actually would be an interesting opening line.
That's when you have a goalie playing center.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right. So let's see here. On to our next news topic here. So obviously the press conference that did happen from Gary Bettman, our beloved commissioner of the NHL. And these were some of the highlight notes that he said. one of them is that there will be no compliance buyouts for teams, even with the flat cap out. So you will not have a compliance buyout. So if you were hoping to buy out a big contract, tough titties. It ain't coming your way.
No.
So
That's great. Further hamstring the GMs out there. Great.
yeah. Yeah. And then on the other side, too, a little bit of a cosmetic note. He's saying that helmet sponsors will remain. However, there will be no uniform sponsors. So we won't go full European League, just half.
Good. I'm fine. Like, I had no issue with the helmet logos or the helmet sponsors. The only other thing they had there were the team's logo anyway. So, that's to me. Just as long as they don't start putting them on the jersey.
Sometimes not even the team logo. Sometimes it was just the team spelled out.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
Let's see. Benny's Nation saying, nice to see a little Northwest rivalry between Vancouver and Seattle. That would be nice to see because they are so close together. Hopefully Vancouver, being a young and up-and-coming team, hopefully they start to get a little bit more consistent. And, they'll be able to battle with Seattle, this Titan that's just come in if they do their expansion draft real well. Wish the helmet sponsors were local, though, like Philly was as well.
Some were actual, like their helmet sponsors were their stadium sponsors. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, PB&G was Pittsburgh's, but I would love to see the goose flying on the helmet for the Flyers. That would be just so fitting.
Well, do you spell the name of who you mean to talk about? You call me a jerk.
Let's see here.
Bernier. So I went Bernier. So whatever.
Hey, Jonathan Bernier, the first goalie to play center in the NHL. There you go.
Let's go.
All right. So Gary Bettman also stated that. There will be no. Bill Daly actually said this. There will not be more transparency for injuries, starting goalies, or lineups for your betting. So if you do like to bet hockey, you ain't getting anything more than what you got right now.
Good, and you shouldn't. It's the players' issue.
Yeah, you got to protect the players in this nature of the sport. It's different in other sports. I mean, the one thing I'm always surprised, though, is that with football, that should be the most protected in it, and you're required to, that's why I thought that they might start releasing more information, you know what I mean, as we move into this, gambling, legality, or gambling legal world, that they'd have to release that. But, I mean, there's so many teams will target an area, you know what I mean, it's just going to happen. I know I would do it.
Absolutely. I'm good with them just saying upper body, lower body, whatever, what have you. So I'm fine with it. I mean, you're going to know whether or not you know what the injury is. A player's not going to be in the lineup. They're going to let you know before he plays the bet, usually.
What I would like to see, though, is more firm timetables, though. You could say, it's just a lower body or just upper body, but it's an upper body injury. We expect him to be out 5 to 7 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, be clear about that. There's too many teams, and, I've talked about it ad nauseum, in regards to the baseball teams, just straight out lying. And, you're trying to play fantasy sports here, it makes it a little tough. But they could use the same sort of tactics by not, being coy with the time frames. And it's harder to build, lineups around DFS, seasonal, or even, especially when we were talking gambling.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm on point. Like I'm with you on that one 100%. Not just for fantasy reasons, but just for the betting world. They'll have better ideas of, hey, maybe I don't bet on the St. Louis Blues for the next 5 to 7 weeks because Tarasenko, blew his hip out, and
right.
So you know what I mean. So I'm with you 100% there.
Yeah, and even for the fan base too. Now, getting away from the whole gambling side, you want to know when your players are going to play or how long they're going to be out for, and that way you can, it goes right into your rooting interest. for your team. You know what to expect. You know what players to root on to, occupy that role that, player A is out 5 to 7 weeks. Okay. So player B needs to step up for those 5 to 7 weeks.
Yeah. Also because, now that teams are allowing fans back in the buildings, it makes it for what game are you going to go see? So
Right.
If you want to go see the Flyers play St. Louis, but Tarasenko's not playing and he's the guy you want to see,
right?
Why are you going to go?
Right.
That's the other thing too.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Next on the notes from the Bettman press conference is he is unsure if the NHL players will be able to go to Beijing for the Olympics. There's no movement on that whatsoever. Connor McDavid was one of the guys who was hoping and was expecting to know if he could go to the Olympics, probably because Connor McDavid would like to compete for a championship, and he knows he can't in Edmonton.
Damn.
But
Burn.
But for now, though, they're not sure about it. It will be interesting, though, to see if they do decide to put the NHL pros back into the Olympics for the Beijing situation. The reason for it, though, is because of the pandemic. They're unsure if whether or not they will be able to get the clearance that they feel comfortable with to send players out to play over in Beijing.
Right.
Well, I also got to worry about travel restrictions and all that as well, because apparently they're not in very good shape right now. So, do you really want your players going over to Beijing right now with all that stuff going on? If I'm Bettman, I wouldn't. So, I mean, there's just so many travel restrictions and all that stuff now you got to worry about. So, and then it's just a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, it'll stay that way for a little bit. But besides that point, the NHL schedule not released yet, but there are some dates that have been hammered out as key dates. One, January 1st, as usual, par for the course, the Winter Classic. It'll be St. Louis at Minnesota, so it'll be at Target Field. So that will be your Winter Classic for this upcoming season. And then
face off in the open air, yeah, baby.
Yeah. So mark January 1st down. If you want to see Kaprizov do what is that, the Ovechkin trick where you get 9 goals in a game? Because if there's someone who's going to do it, it's going to be Kirill Kaprizov. I would love to say that that's something Ovechkin did. He did not, unfortunately.
If he decides he wants to stay in the NHL, I've heard rumors of him going to the KHL.
True, and if that is the case, boy, Minnesota fans are going to be depressed for fucking ever. Because, boy, nothing like getting tasted with a great player. And then all of a sudden Minnesota's like, you can't have him now.
No. No. No.
Boy, I'll tell you, man, if Kyrell does leave, though, I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry. If you're a Minnesota fan, I'm going to laugh my ass off. I really am. I'm just like, yeah. Like you had a superstar player right there, and he said "fuck you" and went to the KHL. Oh, poor Minnesota! They can't catch a fucking break.
No, I'm gonna laugh at you. No.
What are you, Mr. Bill?
Yeah. So
throw back to Adam Sandler.
A lot of that. Seriously, you don't know who that is. You don't know what. Rob, he's too young. He don't know better.
Right.
But
whatever.
it's all about contract extension. That's the big thing that, he wants the extension done. May or may not get done, so he's threatening to go to KHL.
It's a bidding leverage thing. You know what I mean? Like you just won the Calder, and then you're going to go to the KHL. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's just like,
Leo,
no, I want
2.0.
Yeah, he's thinking, yeah, he can smacks of that, kind of. But I mean, it's one of those things of like, I want all the money. I don't just want what your rookies get. I want all the fucking money. So
all the monies.
So if I don't get all the monies, then I'm going back to Russia. All right,
he's
so let's
justified himself a very good contract. So
he's bluffing. He's bluffing.
Like you just said, Rob, leverage move.
Leverage.
But, hey, to be fair, Kyrell did have himself one hell of a season, so he is holding all the cards right now. So I can kind of understand it.
Speaking of,
All
my
right.
Young Gun card probably just added a lot of value with him becoming the Calder Trophy winner.
Yeah, definitely. He's holding a royal flush right now while the friggin' Wild are trying to bluff on a pair of twos. They're kind of fucked in this case. But anyway. All right. So let's see here. Next up, the 2022 All-Star Game will be in Vegas. So if you were hoping for it to be in Philly, no. I don't think it'll ever be in Philly, honestly. But
Eventually, they'll get the rotation.
someday when they stop the expansion.
I could care less.
Well, what's nice, I mean, what's good about it is, you're getting that, you're getting that, what's the word? I'm blanking on the word. I'm half asleep over here. You're putting Vegas on notice as a hockey town.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You do bring notoriety though, and a bit of money too, right?
Yeah, we'll get some money. Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean, for hosting, and but certainly the notoriety, bringing the center of the hockey world. I mean, I get that aspect, but in terms of having it close by for you to attend, I don't know if I would even even go to the skills competition, let alone the game. You know what I mean? Sadly, I never thought I'd be one of these guys, but I am. The All-Star game is in any, especially in baseball too, it's kind of becoming an afterthought for me. Always watch the home run derby. You know what I mean? That's something I don't think I could break away from, but I don't know. I'm starting to a little bit.
I would I'm in the same. I am in the same boat you are. I'd go to the skills competition for sure. I'd go to the home run derby. I'm probably going to go to the home run derby when the All-Star game is in Philly for baseball.
Right.
But as far as the actual All-Star game is concerned, no appeal anymore.
I would go though for the 3-on-3 tournament. If they were doing that, I would go to that. That'd be kind of fun to see. The 3-on-3s, they would be fun. Let's see here. Jesse's saying, can we trade for McDavid? Then come on, Pens, Flyers, Crosby versus McDavid. Bettman would seizure out.
Yeah, more than likely.
Now, and Jesse's saying same thing. NFL, same thing. Pro Bowl joke. I'd rather see skills competition. Honestly, though, what would you think would be the skills competition for the NFL? The longest kick you can make to make a field goal or some shit like that?
Oh, they do all kinds of good stuff. So they actually, I think that is one of their things they do. They do a quarterback competition. They do speed stuff. They have all kinds of cool games and stuff that they do.
Yeah, build upon the combine, type activity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
What was great to see was baseball did its first draft combine this year, and it was freaking excellent. For all the baseball buffs out there, check it out. I actually DVR'd a whole bunch of it off the MLB Network. I've been cruising through, but it was some of the cool things that they were doing with the drills and stuff like that. It was fantastic. And
I was just going to say, out of Missouri?
I think so. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, the only reason why I'm asking is because I had a buddy who quit the job we were working at together and went out for that reason.
Yeah.
So he's probably working that event.
Yeah, I'd assume so. But it was really pretty cool. I think it's something that they really needed to do because now, I'm more into the numbers than I've ever been at this stage of my career, but yet nothing beats the eye test, and this provided an eye test. What I mean, to match with the stats.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know what? It's great because in any sport, the combine gives you an idea, and you're only going to get an idea. You're not getting the full package until you get them out on the field, on the ice, court, whatever. You're getting an idea of where they are development-wise, whether or not this guy's going to need to spend more time back in juniors or in minor league ball, or if they got to go. Should he probably go play college ball, gives you an idea of where they are as far as development goes. And I think it pays great dividends for every sport to have some form of a combine.
I just looked it up too, and I should have known because they only said it about a half dozen times for the brief portion that I've watched so far. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina, actually.
Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay. All right,
And,
that's a big high school, college baseball area too.
Yeah, they got the big, the sports center down there. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like a lot of fields. Yep.
Yep, just outside of Durham too.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Jesse's saying QB throwing competition is awesome. Everyone wants to see Mahomes versus Rodgers. Who could throw it further? Seamus, there's no game on tonight. Tomorrow will be game 3 for Montreal and Tampa. Yeah, it sucks too because I was looking at the Stanley Cup Finals schedule and it's like, of course, it starts on fucking Monday, then Wednesday, skips Thursday, goes to Friday. And even if it went full 7, we still wouldn't get it because they're not doing any games on Saturday or Sunday. And like, God damn it. So we would miss it altogether anyway. So, oh well,
Brian,
what are you going to do?
What was the final of the Bucks-Hawks game? Maybe Seamus was checking in about that.
It was Bucks won. It was like 123 to 111 or something along those lines.
Wow. Okay.
Putting up 125 points without the freak.
Yeah, dude, that's impressive.
That is impressive.
Yeah,
and Atlanta's got some other shooters, but that's still pretty impressive to put up 111 still without one of the best 3-point shooters in basketball right now.
I'll tell you this much. Some people made some money in DFS tonight. I can tell you that with all the value plays coming through. And putting up 123 points. Oh, my goodness.
You damn right.
Why didn't I play? Damn it.
I didn't play because I'm broke.
Meanwhile,
I rest my head. I play too much.
Make your head spin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, other key dates as well. February 26th, if you're a Tampa or Nashville fan, Tampa Bay will be hosted by the Nashville Predators in the Stadium Series. So that'll be happening out there in the Music City. Meanwhile, the NHL is planning on doing a Heritage Classic, but they do not have anything confirmed because obviously Canada's situation with the pandemic still not 100% hammered out right now. So we'll wait and see what that says because Montreal did, by the way, deny having more capacity available for the Bell Center for Game 3. So they did deny that. So, yeah. I mean, I understand it.
Streets full of people around the Bell Center.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not contradicting. I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy. And Heritage, Jesse's saying going to be Bruins Habs. Can they do that? Because I thought Heritage Classic was strictly for Canada teams.
It is.
Okay.
Can't do the Bruins. So it might be. Well, who's the last teams to do it? Could be maybe Calgary and Edmonton.
I think that was because Rob.
Ottawa was one of the last teams to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Ottawa, maybe Vancouver. I think was the last one. That seems about right. That sounds about right.
I think that's exactly it, as a matter of fact, because that's as soon as you said Heritage Classic, that was the game I thought of. And then I was also thinking of a good suggestion for this year would be a rematch of Montreal and Toronto. Wouldn't that be nice?
Mm-hmm.
Coming off that
would be.
Series.
Oh,
that would be cool. That would be a really awesome series to do. A really awesome game to do. Yeah.
Cars word.
Yeah. I can't think of any other Canadian series I would want to see, like any other Canadian matchup, because you could do Toronto versus Edmonton. You could have Connor McDavid face Austin Matthews in a Heritage Classic game. That may not be a bad option to go. Because I don't really want to see Vancouver versus anybody. I don't want to see Edmonton versus Calgary because I feel like Edmonton would win that. I mean, but then again, maybe not because of their defense and Mike Smith. But, and then...
Real quick. Vancouver was 2 years ago with Ottawa, and then technically 3 years ago. 2 years ago, the last one that they did before COVID was Winnipeg and Calgary.
And Jesse's saying, is having a team created in 2011 really hockey heritage? Bruins and Habs are original teams. That's hockey heritage to me. I agree, but I think the NHL has marketed the Heritage Classic as strictly Canadian teams, basically. I do think, though, that they should have – I do feel like there are. I feel like maybe for a stadium series, they should have a more historical matchup because sometimes they do get a little bit into the hey, let's do a lot more of the newer teams facing off with each other kind of vibe going on. And there's nothing wrong with that. I definitely say you should have those. But if you're going to have multiple stadium series matchup, maybe have a Bruins Habs matchup. You know what I mean? You know, and yeah, they did do Flyers versus Bruins, albeit they shouldn't have this past season at Lake Tahoe. But I feel like, you know, maybe do a Bruins Habs and mix it in with a Nashville Tampa matchup or something of that nature, you know?
Well, here's the thing that kind of makes it funny for me. You can have the Canadian teams be involved in Winter Classics or Stadium Series games, whatever. But and I get that the Heritage Classic is more of a Canadian thing, but why not have American teams up there?
Yeah, at least
mean?
original six. You know what I mean? Like you could have a Detroit versus someone, or Chicago versus someone, New York versus someone. You can have original six matchups. You know, it would make sense.
Well, not even just that. Like it creates more opportunities for teams to get on that opportunity to play an outdoor game because clearly some of these other teams aren't getting opportunities for Stadium Series or Winter Classic games or whatever. It just allows. I feel like it allows more opportunity for teams to get that opportunity to finally be outside.
Yeah, which I do feel is why we're seeing a Tampa versus Nashville because that's a weird matchup for a Stadium Series. You know, because that's an East versus West Stadium Series matchup, and yeah, I feel like that's what that piggybacks off your point of giving teams opportunities that are not having opportunities outdoors. So Nashville's never done it, so now they're going to do that. Tampa hasn't either. So now they're trying to throw something together at the last minute. So, or at least
one.
Oh, they were. What was that? What was the one?
Dallas. That was a couple years ago.
Oh yes, that's right. But Tampa, I don't think has ever done one. So
Tampa's
yeah,
never done one. So yeah.
Give a Florida team a chance to play, you know, in a cold setting. I mean, that's a good premise. I like that. It's good to be original too. I mean, I get to what Jesse's saying and sticking to that heritage. But yeah, I think you do need to highlight other teams. You know, that way you're building, you know, the shield, the NHL shield. One team I'd like to see added towards that would be the Ottawa Senators team that we referenced to now 3 years ago, Brian. You know, featuring a young kid like Tim Stetzel out in the national stage. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That would just be good for the whole league.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at too is if you allow all 32 teams to be a part of all the outdoor games, no matter what implication it is, Heritage Classic, Winter Classic, Stadium Series, whatever, have you. To Benny's point here, you can market different. You can market some of the smaller market teams a little bit better to give them not just a little bit of love for the teams, but you'll get to market some of these players a little bit better too. So you'll see more teams like, to your point with Ottawa, Tim Stetzel, maybe Brady Tkachuk. It's giving more availability to marketability, I think.
Dig this, and it goes right with Betty's suggestion. What if you had an outdoor game, dead of winter, out in Nebraska, and you have two teams, one from the East, one from the West, coming in, like say, like the New York Rangers, a young and upcoming team, versus a powerhouse of Colorado Avalanche, and one of the where the Huskers play, where you get like 100,000 people in there or whatever. I think you're bringing it to an area that doesn't have hockey. That would be. It's a wonderful suggestion, Betty.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That's a great idea.
And I think a good outdoor game too. You can have a rivalry outdoor game as well, and that would make it like a big rivalry matchup between two teams.
And the great thing about it is, how Gary Bettman's always trying to continue to grow the league, grow the game, all that. What better way to do it than go to a non-hockey market like Nebraska is a perfect example, and put on one of the best showcases with two of the best teams in the league to really show off what the NHL can do as far as, competition and skill level and all that other stuff that comes with it. Best way to market, and I agree with both of you guys, you and Benny, Rob, you market in places that are not quite hockey towns, but you don't want to put it in somewhere that it probably shouldn't be. So, like, I think Nebraska would be a perfect idea.
There, or you go to a place that maybe is big on hockey, but on the college level, like, North Dakota.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
Absolutely. I still don't understand how North Dakota doesn't have a pro team, but, whatever.
Yeah.
Great college team, though.
I think it's just the market. Honestly, I guess they just didn't really feel like it was a market they wanted to be in. And I don't know. Weird that but that was what their opinion was.
I mean, it's a hockey state.
It is. It definitely is. It's just for some reason they just don't see it. But I mean, they were going to have the Blues move to Saskatchewan, and that didn't happen either. Or Saskatoon, that didn't happen. So. And then Benny's Nation saying missed opportunity to have pens and flyers at Beaver Stadium. That would have been interesting if they had done that route, especially if the Flyers had won that, because I think that area is primarily Pittsburgh fans. So because if you go further into the middle of Pennsylvania, you get root sports. So you're done with Philly after that.
I mean, yeah, you're pretty much done with Philly once you hit Harrisburg.
Yeah. Prism saying if you're not adding a team there ever, you go to a college town, which I think is what we were pretty much saying there.
Yep.
And Benny's was actually saying bring a game to Quebec City, which would be interesting if they did that. I mean,
Glacier National
I wonder how
Park
many
in Montana would be a great spot.
What was it?
I like that.
Glacier National Park. Think about the view that you would have.
Oh, the view, yeah. It had great visuals for Lake Tahoe. You could have great visuals there too.
Absolutely.
And let's see.
It's kind of marketing 101. You want to build, you go to places where there's not familiar there. That's how you grow. That's how you grow the game.
Well, a perfect example of that. I mean, believe it or not, the Vegas Golden Knights are not the first flirtation with hockey in Vegas. There was a lot of possibilities of bringing a Vegas team into the league in the early 90s. Didn't happen, but they did have a game between the Kings, and I forget who they were playing. But Gretzky was the captain of the Kings at that time. So they brought him to a rink, and I think they put it in the MGM Grand Hotel. They put a rink in the hotel, and they had Gretzky and the Kings battling. God damn it, I forget who it was. But that was the first flirtation with possibly putting hockey in Vegas to try and drum up the idea of that. So really, when you think about it, the seeds of putting a team in Vegas are actually a lot older than recent. So there you go.
Yeah, like I said, I'm all for doing everything that they're doing right now to grow the game. So market in the right places. That's all.
Yeah,
unfamiliar places.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right, that's that on the news bulletins there. Oh, and the 2022 NHL entry draft is going to be held in Montreal. So those are some dates to look out for. They do not have the date, though, for the entry draft yet. All right, so Benny's saying need a game in Madison, Wisconsin.
That would be another good spot for outdoor game.
I have this beautiful picture of Glacier National Park in Montana. I really wish I could figure out how to share it on the screen, but I don't want to.
All right, then. So let's see. We have Dominic Ducharme is set to return for the Habs in Game 3. So he's coming off of the COVID. Yeah, so that definitely is something to look at for the Canadiens. Bouch, by the way, congratulations to him. He is now going to be joining ESPN when they are officially taking over. So congratulations to Bouch, and we get to see him more. So I'm happy for that. It's like good. Keep all the former Flyers. You can get rid of everybody else. Well, you know what? Yeah, keep Sharp too. He is a former Flyer. But anyway, go on, Rob.
Yeah, I read that first thing this morning from Sam Carchidi. That was great news to hear. I'm
all for it. I love Bouch as a commentator, but I mean, ESPN's just hiring names right now.
True.
They already hired Wayne Gretzky to be an analyst. They hired Mark Messier to be an analyst, and hopefully Bouch does like what he's doing now, kind of like the sideline reporting.
Oh yeah.
But it's. I think right now they're grabbing names to attract people to go to ESPN. Obviously, people are going to go to ESPN. It's the only place to get hockey. It's going to be the only place to get hockey outside of the NHL Network.
Well,
True. Very, very true. This will definitely help ESPN. Definitely will help them. But yeah. I mean, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with more, where they'll go from here. If they're, what other guys they might consider bringing into the fold for their coverage of hockey. Along with that, obviously, the trade that happened today, Victor Arvidsson traded to the Los Angeles Kings. The Nashville Predators, in return, acquired a 2021 second-round pick and a 2022 third-round pick. That is basically the trade that happened today. So, good move for LA. I mean, you get a player like Arvidsson who can have a very strong, return to form. He had a bit of a kind of year, but he can bounce back in LA with a big opportunity out there with a team that's up and coming. And then on top of that as well, a couple of picks going the other way for LA. You're not giving up a lot, so yeah, a little bit more higher value in the picks because you'll be picking a little bit earlier. But you know what? Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, seems like it's a good trade all around for everyone.
No, for sure, and I hate that LA got him because of the fact that besides the fact that I'm a Ducks fan, it makes LA better. I'm gonna try and grab his stats real quick, but
it's a good move for Nashville because, we'll talk about, Matty, what we were talking about before about little minor deals that you could see for teams trying to shed salary cap as they try to rebuild their team, which is, ideally what Nashville's trying to do here. Now $4.25 million off their books in this deal, and they get, the 2 picks back.
Yep. Yeah, 2 high-level picks, too. 2 that they can make a splash with. Now, Victor Arvidsson's coming off a year where he played 50 games, so he missed 6. 10 goals, 15 assists for 25 points. So he's averaging about a half a point a game. So that he'll probably be on. I mean, let's be real. The LA Kings are an up-and-coming team. A lot of young talent on this roster. So you bring in a vet like Victor Arvidsson that helps solidify things a little bit more in the top 6, where you may have had some question marks before. Now, with Victor Arvidsson in there, that's one less question. You're getting a half a point player last year, which will probably turn up the bit, depending on which line he winds up on, could be a point a game player.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And for LA, it's really good for them because, you get more of an offensive punch with Arvidsson. And on top of that as well, he's a strong player. And that's the kind of guy that he's kind of one of those players that doesn't give up on plays. And he's just, he's like one of those guys that you look at and you're like, he's the kind of guy who's going to fight, and that's the kind of person that you want for a young team to kind of learn that mentality, get that mentality of you don't give up, you don't quit, you keep going full bore. And that's going to be great for LA moving forward.
I mean, the last couple of years he's had some injury issues, but
true.
I'm not too worried about it because he does the little things right. He does get in the dirty areas. He is going to get on your nerves. He is going to score your goals. He's going to set some goals up too. So he's got a lot of offensive upside. And like I said, just the leadership value, the veteran value that he has to going to a young team that's ready to compete versus being on a team that's rebuilding at the moment or getting ready to go back to rebuild. I think Victor's going to be much happier in LA than he will be in Nashville.
Night,
Raska.
Yeah, night, Raska. All right, then. So, all right, gentlemen. So that's the news that I got here. Anything else that you guys wanted to talk about?
A couple rumors.
Sure.
Let's talk about Vladimir Tarasenko.
Ah, yes.
Rumor is that he's definitely they're shopping him. So it sounds like St. Louis is ready to go into rebuild mode. So they're going to shop Tarasenko. Rumor is I'm hearing, and me and Prince were talking about this earlier, LA.
It would make sense. Yeah.
He'd be a very good fit. Put him on a line with Anze Kopitar.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. You go and get a really gritty player like Arvidsson, and then on top of that, you go and get a really talented goal scorer in Vladimir Tarasenko. I mean, both guys have had their bouts with injuries issues, but Tarasenko seems to have that behind him now. So it looks like things are. You put those guys on that team, I think LA definitely is going to be a very frustrating opponent next year going into the full 82.
Yeah, the return I'm hearing is possibly Dustin Brown. I'm checking his contract again here real quick, just because I want to be sure when his contract ends, because this might be perfect for him. Ends next year, after this upcoming year, I should say. So, wait. Yeah, so it'll be after next season. So 21-22. This is last year on the contract. So 37 years old. He's got a $4 million cap hit. And just let me pull up Tarasenko's real quick, because this might be a perfect swap for them. And it works out for both. So if you can move Dustin Brown's contract, which I didn't realize was such a hard hit or such a lighter hit, makes sense for LA to get rid of a guy like Dustin Brown to send to St. Louis in return to bring in a Vladimir Tarasenko.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously we all know Dustin Brown hasn't exactly been the same since the glory days for LA.
Oh, I mean, pretty much since he got his contract.
Yeah.
Dirty rat bastard. Yeah, I'd take him out of LA. Just waiting for it to load here, boys.
While you do that, Jesse's saying, if Vazzy wins the Cup, he'll have 2 and a Vezina and all those playoff shutouts. He's only 26, so you think he could be a Hall of Famer if he keeps up this success? Yeah, absolutely.
Easily.
Yeah.
I think even if he has a dip along the way, you know what I mean? To me, his career kind of, I mean, maybe not to the T, but it kind of is emblematic of Henrik Lundqvist. And do you think Henrik Lundqvist is a Hall of Fame goaltender? I mean, minus the Cup, of course.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he didn't win the Cup, but I think, yeah, you have to put him in there. You know what I mean? It'd be the same thing as like, well, would you put Carey Price? Now, Carey Price still up to get a Cup right now. But the thing is like, if the Canadiens don't get it, and Carey Price eventually retires and he doesn't have one, it's like, well, yeah, he didn't have a Cup, but it'd be stupid not to put him in the Hall either. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have
as
to.
he has a chance, if there is no dip and he just continues being, an elite goaltender, top 5, top 3 in the league, then you can start talking Brodeur Wall territory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the ceiling.
True. Very, very true.
If that's the ceiling, that's great company to be in.
Yeah.
As for Tarasenko, he's got 2 years left on his contract. This year he'd be making a whopping $9.5 million as a cap hit, and the year after that he's down to 5.5. That could work out in LA's favor big time if they were to get that deal done.
Yeah,
damn.
I could see that. So I think, I think it's safe to say I think we could see Tarasenko in a black and silver jersey very soon.
Oh,
so you get to deal with that in Anaheim.
Any chance of an orange and black?
No.
Tarasenko, probably not.
No, I don't. See, I don't think the Flyers really should focus on offense. Yeah, we do need a goal scorer, but I don't think necessarily like Tarasenko levels. Like, we also have to remember we got to keep mind of our cap, because we also have to sign Carter Hart. And at the same time, too, there's also other things that'll be coming up as well. So again, we also still have to try to figure out a way to get rid of freaking Voracek and Van Riemsdyk just to free cap up. So, and that's only just to worry about Seth Jones if he doesn't sign an extension. So it's kind of one of those situations of, oh shit, we kind of have to manage the cap situation too. So bringing Tarasenko is just going to muck things up even further.
I want the sniper.
Yeah.
I need sniper.
I know.
Need sniper.
I know. Trust me. I want one too, but the problem is it's like fiscally we have to think, what can we afford and what can't we afford right now?
It is going to be a huge question. Who's going to fit where until we know who's been taken out of the draft. So that still has to be priority number one before we even think about who do the Flyers go after, who do the Ducks go after. Although the Ducks have $22 million free of cap space, so I think it's like
good for you.
22.35 or something along those lines. Well, I mean, with Getzlaf and David Backes off the books, that frees up. Getzlaf was 8.8, and Backes was like 5.5. So that's 13 mil, 14 mil right there.
Prism was saying he was mentioned as a team might be interested in the article I read, but they weren't in the top 4. So looks like maybe made a phone call, but probably like, nah, this doesn't look like it would work out. Prism does bring up, though, that Klingberg in Dallas is going to get a big raise soon. He's on cheap team-friendly deal. He's in line for $7.59 a year if gets in a bidding war. So that's an interesting note.
Jesse, I hope they break up that core. It's been nothing but mediocrity since 2010, and it's clearly not been on the coaching staff. It's clearly on this core. They need to get to the younger core because obviously you keep getting the same results with different coaches.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we can see somebody go. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see, you know. After the expansion draft, we'll know more of what Chuck Fletcher will have to do in terms of where he's got to go with that. But still, yeah. Let's see here.
For Duncan Keith, you better knock it off, Priz.
Who's for Duncan Keith? Yeah, Priz. All right, Keith. You know what? I think you need to calm down on your extracurriculars right there and just sit down for a moment and chill. That's a little. It's going to your head a little bit on that one. Benny's Nation saying, "I just want somebody who can hit the net." Yeah, that's true.
He's a baby steps, boys.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You put him next to Myers and Provey. I mean, don't get me wrong. Duncan Keith can be a leader, but unfortunately, Duncan Keith will regress to the performance that he's had well before that year that they were in the playoffs. Let's see here. Would you trade Coots for Seth? Interesting.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I would, because it frees up a little bit more cap space. You could probably get a little bit more back from Columbus if you add Coots to the mix. Plus, if whatever rumors I'm hearing about him being a cancer in the locker room are true, you want to get that out of there as quickly as possible. You don't need any of that toxic stuff on a team that's trying to figure out what their culture actually is.
I would say that's not a bad deal. Because Coots is a good two-way player, so you do get defensive upside from him as well, which you're losing with Seth Jones. So at the same time, we get more of a stronger defensive side on the defensive side of the puck that it needs to be, where a good two-way player goes to Columbus who can be defensive and be offensive and be a leader if he chooses not to be toxic if possible. I think that would be a fair deal for both sides.
Yeah, plus you get up the ante on a return.
Yeah. So, all right then. On that one, any other rumors that were buzzing around?
I'm sure there are a few, but I forget at the moment.
All right. Robbie, you got anything?
I can't wait.
There is a rumor that I'm going crazy.
That's
true.
I think that's confirmed, though.
I'm still mind weary. I'm looking forward to this All-Star break for baseball. I'll put it to you that way.
Well, it's here. It'll be here soon.
I have another 3 to 4 hours of work left for me after we sign off tonight.
Oh man.
Oh, goody. Nothing like burning the midnight oil. All right. So
he's going to be burning the early morning oil or however that goes.
So
he's going to be going to bed when I'm probably going to be getting up.
Oh, there you go.
Possibly.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not, indeed. I'm hoping more closer to the 3 hour than the 4.
All right. Well, ladies and
gentlemen, it's usually 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Somewhere around that range. But I will say that is pretty much that. So, gentlemen, I do believe it is time to finish this off. So we thank everybody for joining us for another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. Unfortunately, no live reaction. Fuck you, NHL, for not allowing us to have that opportunity. But oh well, it is what it is.
Maybe we're shaking things up coming soon. Little
Maybe.
tease.
Maybe. New big changes on the horizon, possibly. And, and Jesse saying, "Is it bad? I wish the Flyers were the ones in the expansion draft."
No, not at all.
Oh, honestly, Fletcher will fuck it up. But anyway, moving on. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us for another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour, and we hope to see you next week. By then, we might have a Stanley Cup champion crowned. If not, then that means there's a Game 7 coming up, and that's intense, especially in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, but here's to hoping that we have a very interesting series and not a quick one. I always prefer series that are a lot more competitive. And then after that, we'll see what the expansion draft has for us. But with that being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Sassuti, along with the Darkwing Brian Daly. And the Broken One, Mr. Rob Povia.
Pleasure as always, fam.
Always, always.
And we thank you for joining us. We are brought to you by Body Check Wellness, and we were also brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. You can make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Find him at Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. They have done a great job with Brian, and they'll do a great job with you if you're feeling any aches and pains.
They are a team of rock stars over there.
Absolutely. Also, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, especially the gentlemen out there, gentlemen, if you want to be confident, Manscaped's the perfect way to go to be confident. 20% off, free shipping with the A2D code at manscaped.com. You can use all of their very helpful tools to make sure that your sensitive areas are taken care of and makes you feel nice and happy.
Yeah, use that promo code. Get that 20% off the Lawnmower 4. Get yourself all cleaned up. Get rid of that junk funk and you know, let your girl, you know, get a break from that. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Be confident. Strut.
Or maybe that'll unlock the door to a girl. There you go.
I haven't had that luck yet, but my problem could be up here a little more than, you know, down there.
Hey, you're a simple guy. Sometimes when you take care of yourself, it gives you that confidence, and you know they sniff that out. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man. Promo code A2D gets you 20% off on Manscaped. Like I said, use it. Get rid of that junk funk.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you do like the Hockey Happy Hour and you like all the other great shows that we have here at A2DRadio.com and you wish to support us, where can they go to do that, Bri?
They can go to phillydrinkers.com. That's Philly Drinkers LLC. Go see Alex, and he'll take good care of you. All kinds of great stuff on the website. We got shirts, hats, hoodies, stickers, all kinds of great stuff. So that's phillydrinkers.com, Philly Drinkers LLC, to support A2D. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys every night. I see a lot of the same faces, see a lot of new faces. We'd like to see some more new faces. So head over to phillydrinkers.com, help spread the word.
Absolutely. And if you are planning on buying or selling a home, changing career or brokerage, Alan Foy is the guy to go to. You can find him at eXp Realty LLC. Give him a call at 302-682-8820. You can visit him on the web at alan.foy at exprealty.com. Always a big step in life when you're changing homes or careers or what have you. You want to do it right. Alan Foy is the guy that will make sure it's done right. All right then, gents. With that, just leave this here so that way everybody can read that. So that way they know as we sign off. We thank you all for joining us. Eileen, you have a pleasant good evening. And you are right, A2D does kick ass. And Prism, thank you, brother. Jesse, of course. Everyone who chimed in, thank you all so very much. Memberships, keep that in mind. $9.99 a month, people. And we will see you next week right here on A2DRadio.com. We'll see if we have a new Stanley Cup champion or a repeat Stanley Cup champion by that time. Yeah, we'll see you guys then, though. Peace and love, everyone.